Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name is Josh. How are we doing?
Welcome back to FPL Graduates. We are gassed. It is FPL Fridays, but it is the biggest game week of all time, Josh, isn't it?
It feels like that. It's absolutely mental. So much preparation and everything going into this. It's going to be a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait. We've got a special guest on today. Now, this guy has huge kahunas. He captained Loughton and got 34 points in 1 week. FPL Fiend, welcome to FPL Fridays. How are you doing?
Hi guys, it's great to be on. I'm really excited to get this stream going.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, man. Honestly, that Loughton captain shout, I can't believe you got some pure jackpot luck out of that. So as you can tell, we do this every week. We bring a guest on, ask their background and who they support, and by the obvious sign of behind you, you support Man United. So tell us a little bit why.
Well, actually, it's through my granddad because my dad doesn't like football. So I used to go up every weekend when I was like 4 or 5, and I'd watch every United game every weekend. And ever since then, I just fell in love with it. And I grew up watching the likes of Tevez, Ronaldo, and Bruni, and it's just fell in love with it.
Don't blame you.
I can't believe Josh has managed to somehow get another Man United guest on FPL Fridays. I mean, it's getting silly now. I'm going to have to scout out and find some Reading fans to bring on. But yeah, looking at Manchester United assets, there are a few obvious ones. There's a few not so obvious ones. Can you give us a little bit of insight as a fan of Man United of which FPL assets you'd bring in for Man United?
Well, I think the simple one is Bruno. Like, from the very start, he's just been absolutely amazing this season. I think away from home especially, he barely ever blanks. He has like 60% ownership at the moment, but if you captain him most weeks, you're going to get points. He has 16 returns this season out of 25 games, which is just ridiculous. He's just doing so well. I don't think there's many other Man United assets that do well. Maybe Luke Shaw. He has 7 clean sheets this season. It's not a bad asset. Five assists too. But I think the other big one would be Rashford. 126 points this season and only 12% owned. So, he's a big asset there too.
Yeah, there's a couple of good ones in there. I like Luke Shaw, and I think, Josh, don't you have Luke Shaw on your team? I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah, he came in on the wild card for a couple of weeks to make way for Cresswell with his bad fixtures. So I'm hoping for some big things, especially against Chelsea this weekend.
Yeah. I hope he can really return.
Yeah. Bruno's the obvious one, isn't he? Rashford, I also like. He's one of them players who, on the counter attack, he's devastating, isn't he? So one player who I haven't actually owned this season. I don't think many people would have owned him at a point in the season because what is he 9% owned, something like that? It's not too high.
Yeah, I think it's 12% owned at the moment. He has 12 returns in 25 games, which isn't bad, but 126 points speaks for itself,
Yeah, definitely. I think he's one of the most explosive ones as well. Like if he does return, he's looking to get a goal and an assist or a couple of goals. So yeah, some really decent assets United have at the minute. It'll be interesting how they do going forward with a little bit tougher fixture schedule as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Chelsea game.
So what we'll do now is, as per usual, we'll look at our Game Week 25 teams, see where we can improve, where we're going to look to go into. And later on, we will reveal our Game Week 26 squads, a couple of chips used as well from the graduates. But I'll show my team for this week first. I got 82 points overall, just quickly going through it. Areola, 6 points. You can't go wrong with him. The Leeds boys really did help my team out this week. Dallas, 17. Rafinha should have more than 24 for me, in my opinion. How he didn't come away with the highest haul of any FPL player ever is beyond me. Bruno, as per usual, he just returns. It doesn't matter how he plays, he just gets those points. The City boys doing well, and other than that, it's a few blanks here and there, a few disappointing players, but I'm definitely looking forward to next game week. Antonio on the bench is a bit of a bummer, but it's one of them ones that's going to happen. I'm pretty happy with the 82 points in my team this week.
Yeah, it does look solid. Not a bad week for you. Do you want to bring mine up now? We get the grads done out of the way early.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So yeah, so a little bit worse for me, a 77 pointer. But yeah, some good scores all around. I captained Bamford instead of Rafinha, just because I knew he would score, and he obviously got that first goal. Bit unlucky not to get bonus, but we move. Strike 3.9 million and 8-pointer. I'll take that every day of the week. Like Ben said, Bruno, Rafinha, very good performance. Had Maddison, obviously he's now injured, but a great 9-pointer from him for the 1 week that I did have him. A bit sad that he's gone, to be honest. He's a good player to own, and then obviously the bench was just ready for this big, juicy double game week. So yeah, not too bad. Not the worst week, but definitely not the best.
Yeah, not too bad. Now, FPL Fiend, have you got your team ready to bring up for us?
Yeah. Can you see that there?
Yeah, we got it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, 83 points this week. It's a green arrow. A small one, but it's a green arrow. You can see some scores in there. Fernandez returned, the usual. I have the three Leeds lads, Dallas, Rafinha, and Bamford. The Dallas goal really helped, and the clean sheet, 17 points, great score. I've come to my ends with McCarthy. He's absolutely. I can't, I've had him for so long. I've had him since the start of the season, and I just I don't think he's actually had a return in the last 8 game weeks. It's just awful. So, Lowton, he's my boy. Returning again. Diaz, easy points. Really, he starts most games. Few blanks in there. Salah and Son. I'd expect points from them. Gundogan as well, but they'll get points in other game weeks. Ings blanked as well, but I had him in for 1 game week. I brought him in for DCL this week, just for the double game week, and it didn't work out. So it's still a good week overall, thanks to the Leeds lads. A small green arrow up to 39k, so we moved to next week.
Yeah, very good team, very good rank as well.
Oh, thanks very much.
Yeah, a lot higher rank than the graduates right now, I think it's fair to say. But yeah, I mean that Loughton pick the other week must have really helped you out in terms of your rank. I know I've said it again, but we can't just ignore that. It's a special achievement.
I wish you had seen me when the goal went in. I've never celebrated anything like that in my life. I went straight onto the Burnley website and bought a jersey with Loughton on the back, and I was just like, this is unbelievable. I absolutely love it. And then when I was like, the second game, I would have loved another clean sheet, but I can't ask for any more. I can't ask. A goal and a clean sheet in the first game was just unbelievable. I never thought it would happen.
I think it was his fourth shot in 3 years or something absolutely ridiculous like that. It was crazy scenes.
I didn't even know that going into the game. I was just like, they're decent fixtures, I'll give it a go. And then when I heard he hasn't scored since 2012 or something, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
it worked out really well.
Just goes to show sometimes you just don't need to look at the stats. Just go with your gut, and it will turn out well eventually. Now, the next segment of the show, I love it. The chat loves it. You love it. The guest doesn't tend to love it, but it is the FPL trivia quiz. Josh, what are the rules of this game?
Yeah, so as always, we'll give you 60 seconds to answer as many questions as possible, either Man United or FPL related, or a little bit of both, might mix up a little bit. And yeah, it's going to be a great load of fun. The highest score we've had so far is 7. The lowest score, I think, is 0.5. So you can't really get much worse than that.
If I get 1, I'll be happy. I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah, I'll get the timer ready.
So chat,
okay.
Whilst we're playing this, comment along, see if you get any right. Are you guys all ready? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Who is the top scorer in the Premier League for Manchester United this season?
Bruno Fernandes.
How much is Bruno Fernandes on FPL at the time of recording?
11.4.
11.6. How many clean sheets do Manchester United have in the Premier League so far this season?
7.
8. Out of Manchester United's defence, which player has the most FPL points?
Maguire.
Wan-Bissaka. Only one player has received a red card this season for Manchester United in the Premier League. Who is that player?
Martial.
Correct. Which player has received the most yellow cards for Manchester United this season?
Harry Maguire.
Correct. Who has more points on FPL this season, Cavani or Pogba?
Pogba.
Correct. Other than Bruno, who is the most owned United asset on FPL?
Rashford.
Rashford is correct. Is that time,
Hey,
Josh?
that is time indeed.
5 points. That isn't
I'll
too
take
bad.
that.
Very
I'll definitely
good.
take that.
That isn't too
I could
bad.
have got a few right, but I'll take
I mean, that's not bad. We've had a lot worse before. Let's just say that. Definitely had a lot worse. Thank you for all of you guys for wow, the comments are bombarded with you guys answering the questions. You love to see it. Yeah, let's move on. Let's look at the fixtures for next game week. Now, down below on the bottom, there is every single fixture for game week 26. So I had to work out how to cut down the words a little bit because StreamYard wasn't loving it. But yeah, if you could pinpoint, I don't know, a team to target or a fixture to target, what fixtures are you looking at?
Well, I think the Spurs assets are probably the best ones to go for. The likes of Kane and Son are just probably the best assets to have in your team at the moment going into game week 26. If you look in the reverse fixtures, though, Kane has returned in both games this season, and Son has returned against Burnley but blanked against Fulham. So I think you're looking at points regardless. I think they'll both return definitely throughout the both games. I think if you look at Everton fixtures as well, you can't ignore Dominic Calvert-Lewin going into this double game week. He's in banging form. He scored a hat-trick against West Brom in the reverse fixture. You can also look at maybe Digne. Now, he did get sent off in the reverse fixture against Southampton, but they're not looking very good at the moment, Southampton. So I think he could have a few assists in him, especially with Romeo out now as well. So
yeah, some good options there. You definitely chosen probably the two best teams to look forward to. I think a few people triple captain in Digne this week, which is absolutely mental. I personally wouldn't go near a Jordan Pickford defense, but we move.
For me personally, I've got to target Manchester United this week in terms of their fixtures, and I know people are going to be thinking Chelsea. Difficult fixture, but Thiago Silva is out, and when I was watching that Southampton game, Minamino was exploiting the spaces in the gaps between the centre half. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, can a Manchester United player do that? And I'm thinking, yes, they can. And then after that, I mean, Crystal Palace, that's a really nice fixture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably one of the most underrated doubles that we've seen so far. I think a lot of people getting turned off by the fact that obviously Chelsea yet to lose under Tuchel. But I think there's goals in that game. I don't think it's going to be a 0-0 top six clash like we've seen for pretty much all the games so far this season, which is so disappointing. But I think there's going to be goals in both. I think some more doubles that you could maybe look towards, obviously, maybe the Leicester boys, obviously Arsenal and Burnley. Not ideal Maddison's out, but Ricardo Pereira, defender, playing in an attacking midfield position, maybe going forward. I think that's a great shout as well.
Yeah, definitely. Everton as well, you picked up on that one. I mean, Southampton really do have some defensive issues. They've got, I think Minamino's out. I think, like you said, Romeo's out as well. So that's like, who are they even going to play in their team? Like, that is some serious issues there. So yeah, I can't look past Everton as well. Who would you pick? You got DCL, you got Richarlison, Digne. There's so many options, and I think premium defenders this week are going to be the way to go forwards. A lot of people looking at Pereira. He's been playing in the Europa League game. He played at right wing almost. So there's a lot of great options to really pick out.
I think James Rodriguez is also a good option. He can't be forgotten about. But I think a big differential pick this game week will be Sigurdsson. He's on penalties for them, you know what I mean? And he gets forward as well. So he's not a bad pick at all.
Yeah, set pieces, he's unreal. So yeah, moving on, we're going to look at obviously some of the most transferred players being scrolled across the bottom. Who are the must-have assets this week? Who do you think, if you're on a wild card, who would you bring in for this week?
If I was on a wild card, I think the best players to bring in would be the Spurs double of Son and Kane. I think I'd definitely bring in Calvert-Lewin and Digne probably. A couple of City defenders to cover there as well. Fernandez as well. I think Salah is going under the radar a lot. I think he has two nice fixtures. Sheffield United should be a big game for him, and Chelsea could be a good game for him as well. You know, he could explode in any game, Salah. We just don't know. I think they're really good options to bring in. But if I was looking at maybe another differential pick to bring in, Aubameyang looked really good last night, and he's only 6% owned. I think he could be really, really, really good coming into this game week.
Yeah, I agree. He's even against who was it? Leeds. He scored the hat trick against. He looked very good then. It seems like he'll be coming into form. It's a long awaited as well because it's considering how bad he's performed this season. I think a lot of people were looking towards him as sort of one of those mainstays in their team at the start of the season because he was a midfielder now. But yeah, it's nice to see him back amongst the goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the most transferred in this week, and what shocked me and Josh especially is Harvey Barnes brought in by 740,000 people this week. Now, I don't think I've ever seen someone transferred in as much as him. I mean, potentially this season. Maybe you look at Bruno as one of those players who probably got transferred in by 1 million in a week. But in terms of Harvey Barnes, he's the obvious replacement for Grealish. And I think you're looking at all them Grealish owners panicking, looking at that same price point, bringing in Barnes. Now, my question to you guys is Harvey Barnes the answer to those Grealish owners' problems?
I think so. I think if you look at him over the past few games, he just explodes in moments, and he finds that space in behind, and he can really punish defenders. He's guaranteed to start as well. And I'm pretty sure, well, before this game week, he had low ownership, but with 600,000 people bringing him in, that's going to go up a lot. But yeah, I think he's definitely a great asset to bring in this week, and he explodes as well. He never just gets like one assist; it's always like a goal and assist or a couple of goals. I think he's a great asset to have this week.
Yeah, I think he's a very good option to have. For me personally, I obviously had Maddison last week, and with him being out injured, I want to see how that really affects Leicester's plays. Almost their talisman in a way. All the creativity goes through him. So I think that number is mainly due to Maddison and Grealish both getting injured in the same game week, with obviously Harvey Barnes probably being the most likely option to bring in. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Leicester are playing and how without Maddison their creativity does, because obviously we saw them against Slavia Prague last night. They look very poor, so it's not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, when was it that I said a few weeks ago? Might have been 5 or 6 weeks ago that I said Maddison is more important to Leicester than Jamie Vardy. Josh disagreed, and now look at him. He's seen the light. And he's joined me over on the Team Maddison side. I think he is the most crucial player in that team, in my opinion. Vardy, as good as he is, he just needs to be in the right position. And if Maddison's on the pitch, he's going to find him. So yeah, he's the most important. I can see Barnes' output being harmed, but to what extent, I don't know. I still think he can return at any given moment because that's the sort of player he is, isn't he?
Yeah, very explosive.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Should we do it? Should we do a team reveal? I think the people want to see. The people want to see. Josh, do you want to do yours first?
Yeah, I'm happy to get mine done out of the way. Go for it.
There you go.
On screen,
it is on the screen. Yeah, talk us through it.
Right, so Bench Boost is being played this week, as mentioned in obviously the previous weeks. It should be good. I've got, I think, 11 double game week players. Obviously could have had more from the wild card, but I decided to focus on 29 as well, because that's obviously really important to making sure 11's filled for that week. So Emi Martin is in goal. Villa, 2 good games there. Maybe I'm expecting at least a clean sheet and a lot of save points against Leeds, given how unclinical they are and how good Emi Martinez is at saving shots. El Mohammadi's a bit of a sticky one because Matty Cash has returned to training, and apparently he's running in training, so that doesn't look too great. I think he might feature in one. I don't really see him featuring in both if Matty Cash is back. Bit annoying because obviously he's so cheap. It'd have been great if he could play both, but we'll move on from that. Luke Shaw, as we mentioned a lot throughout this live stream already, hoping for big things from him this week. Same with Cancelo. Unreal, this guy. He's probably one of the best players to own this season. He's just so good at going forward. He doesn't even play in defence, really. He's like a defensive midfielder when they have the ball. Bruno Fernandes is on my captaincy this week. And it's mainly because if you don't captain him, he's going to harm your rank. As we've mentioned so much with his effective ownership, it's just so annoying as an owner when you see him return and you're like, oh, he's not really doing anything for me. It's almost like an insurance in a way. So, yeah, I'm happy to captain him. I think Chelsea fixture is very underrated. I think we can see him scoring that. He obviously scored in his last game against the top 6 side, Liverpool, from the set piece we saw. So I'm very excited for that. Mo Salah vice captain, Sheffield United, Chelsea, same sort of thinking thought process with that. Just not really got the cojones to captain him when Liverpool are playing so poor. Gundogan's back in. Nice double game week for them. Bamford starts, Kane with the double, Calvert-Lewin with the double, if we both mentioned them. Areola, Ben White, Struijk and Rafinha still keeping that Leeds triple up because I think they can do well against Aston Villa. Not expecting much from Struijk, but I think Rafinha and Bamford, I'll be shocked if they don't get a return each. I could see quite a few games in that, quite a few goals, sorry. And then obviously the man I left out at the starting 11, Bernardo Silva is the man I've brought in for Maddison. A lot of people going skits, Ben included, that I've brought in a 90-minute played player in midweek. But if we look at the facts, Bernardo Silva plays literally almost every single game for Manchester City. And the guy who's number 1 in FPL in the world right now has him. So if he's got him, I need to get him.
What do we make of Josh's team then? Is it the good decision for Bernardo?
No, I think it could be definitely a good decision. Well, if number 1 has him, then why not? You know, there's their answer. But no, the team looks really good. I think the El Mohammadi situation is a bit unlucky for you, but he could play both games. You don't know. You never know. But I'm afraid. I'm really, really afraid of not having Kane. It's not nice to see him there either. They're just really nice fixtures to have. He could really explode in them 2 fixtures. The rest of the team, it looks pretty solid. Cancelo, he's just a great asset, isn't he? He's able to spread the ball so well. He gets forward. He does everything. He doesn't have many assists this season in the Premier League, but he just comes so close to it. And I haven't owned him this season, but I'd love to get him in. And I really like that front line of Bamford, Kane, and Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, my thoughts on Josh's team.
Here we go.
Bernardo Silva is only going to end in tears. I'm calling that out now. I think Bernardo Silva is going to be the player to make way for De Bruyne in that starting 11, to be honest. And as much as Josh says he's guaranteed to start, it is Pep roulette at the end of the day. So even Gundogan is not guaranteed to start. So picking bones, I know a little bit, but you know, there's a couple of players in there I'm not sure about. I mean, I own Gundogan myself, but other than that, very strong. The El Mohammadi pick would have been a great pick if Cash's injury sustained a bit longer. I mean, I think he'll definitely play the full 90 in the first game. Maybe in the second game he'll play 70. That's what you got hope for, that he's not going to bring him straight back into the starting 11. But yeah, Harry Kane is the major concern. I think he's going to get a lot of points this week for some reason. Because it's just about time for Spurs to turn their form around, right?
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll bring up my team now and talk through that. I have hit the triple captain chip this week. I've triple captained Bruno Fernandes. A lot of reasons behind it is Fernandes is a jammy FPL player. He will get me points no matter how well he plays. And like I've said in the Gameweek review, Fernandes is due a dodgy penalty against the top 6 side. So I think he's going to return in that Chelsea game. and that Crystal Palace game is too tasty on its own not to captain him on. Palace, even against Brighton, still looks really poor, and I think away from home, we know what Man United do. Realistically, they do play really well away from home. They can't do it at home for some reason, but 2 away games. I mean, that's all you got to hear. Areola in goal. I'm expecting him to pick up a clean sheet against Palace, and I'm not expecting a clean sheet against Tottenham, but I am expecting save points from him this week. Cancelo and Diaz. I expect Diaz to play 90 in both games, and Cancelo, if he starts one game and is benched for the other, I'll be okay with that, to be honest. Target as well. I know he's been brought in by a lot of managers this week. Happy to have him. I think he rose this week. Gundogan, similar situation with Cancelo. I'm not too sure that he's going to start both of them, but he's been playing so well. So why not Guardiola? You know what I mean? Rafinha, I mean, he's on red hot form right now. I can't ignore him, even with that single game week fixture against Villa. Yeah, I mean, he could have a great time against El Mohammadi. Let's just put it that way. Son is my cover for Kane, and I'm not 100% happy about that. I'm not going to lie, but the way that my team's set up, I just can't get away of bringing him in without sacrificing another asset that I want to keep. Madja, the GOAT up front, I believe it is a time for him to return for me. Palace away and Tottenham at home. Surely a goal in each of them games. Tottenham aren't good defensively. Palace aren't good defensively. So that's what I'm hoping for. And then DCL up front. Here's my free transfer in this week. I brought him in for Antonio. Then on the bench, McCarthy. Yeah, I know the pain with McCarthy. I don't know what's happened to him. He's just breadsticks for arms or something. Ings, Dallas, and Cresswell on the bench. Concerned maybe about Dallas, but I'm really happy with my starting 11 this week, minus the fact I do not have Kane in.
Yeah, it does look solid. A few players that you probably, like you said, like you wish you have Kane. I think Son is nowhere near what the player he was at the start of the season so far. And like the triple captain on Bruno, I think it will pay off in the long run. Even if he doesn't return against Chelsea, I think Palace is on its own is a triple captain fixture for anyone right now. They're playing so poor, Palace, without Zaha. Obviously, they did win against Brighton, but I think they only had like 2 shots and they scored 2 goals. So I think against a better side, you won't probably see them do as much damage. Yeah,
I think Palace had 2 touches in the opposition box in that whole game with an expected goals of like 0.12 or something. It was ridiculous. But if Bruno starts both games, I'm already happy, realistically, because
Sadio Mane
can't be much worse than last season. Sadio Mane, 1 point, and then he's injured straight away. So as long as he starts both games, I'm on to a winner.
Yeah, so do you want to bring up your team now? Finish it off, make the hat trick.
Okay, yeah. I'll get up now. You can see that there, yeah?
Yeah, we got it now.
Okay.
Ooh, get a little drum roll going.
Ooh.
Here we go.
So, if it actually came down. There we go. So my 2 free transfers this week. One of them I've brought in Martinez for McCarthy. I think that's a pretty straightforward move. McCarthy hasn't had any returns in a number of game weeks, and Martinez is just save points magnet, and he has so many clean sheets this season. So I think it was. Look at those fixtures as well. You know, Leeds. You know, he'll rack up some save points, and that could potentially get a clean sheet. And then Sheffield United is more or less guaranteed clean sheet. So I think it was a smart move to bring Martinez in. The Stones and DL situation, I'll be happy if both of them get 1 game and play 90 minutes and get a clean sheet each, because that's what happened in the last double game week. I can't really expect much more. I can't see Stone starting both, but I can see Diaz potentially starting both. West Ham and Wolves, that's 2 clean sheets really for City. I don't see it any other way. We have Loughton as well, you know. Tottenham and Leicester, you know what? I think he can get 12 points. I do. I think 2 clean sheets there. He'll do me well again. I'm not going to put him down. He'll get 2 clean sheets. Fernandez captain. look, if I don't captain him and he returns, I'll go down in the ranks. So I just have to captain him this week. And look, Man United haven't been great this season in terms of top 6 teams and playing them, but I really think he can return against Chelsea. The odd penalty or an assist, or he could explode. We never know. But the Crystal Palace game is the one to really target. They're just so poor, and Fernandes loves exposing teams like that. So I think it's a pretty safe pick. Salah, like I've said before, Sheffield United is a great fixture for him. Hopefully he can get a few returns there, but Chelsea, he easily could return against Chelsea. We never know with Salah. It could be a hard game. It could be an easy game. He might blank. He might get points. You kind of have to have Salah throughout the season, because if you don't and he explodes, you'll go down in rank as well. So, Gundogan, I can't see him playing both games. I hope he plays one and gets some returns, but he'll play much deeper now, I think, as well, with Kevin De Bruyne back, and it'll be interesting to see who's on penalties. It could be him, it could be De Bruyne, it could be Ederson. We don't know. But West Ham and Wolves are 2 great fixtures. I really hope he can start 1, if not 2. I think Son is a great player to have this week. Burnley and Fulham, they're 2 great fixtures for a top 6 team, and he can really expose them defenses. Burnley are good they have a good defense, but I think with that Son and Kane double up, they just play so well together, and they both return. Fulham, I can see him getting a big haul in if he plays well. We just don't know. I think he's a great option to have this week. And then the front line, Bamford, Calvert-Lewin and Watkins. I'm having Bamford in there because I think against an Aston Villa side, they could play really well. And Bamford, out of 3 of Rafinha, Dallas and Bamford, I think Bamford could return the most points. I brought in Calvert-Lewin this week for Ings. You just have to look at them fixtures, Southampton and West Brom. Southampton probably, other than Crystal Palace, are the worst team, I think, this season in terms of like how they're playing now. And West Brom aren't too great either. So I think there's some definite goals in there for him. And Watkins playing Leeds and Sheffield United. If Grealish was in there, I'd be more happy. I just think there's not enough creativity without Grealish, but Watkins could still get the odd goal against Leeds or Sheffield United, 2 very open defensively. So hopefully we can get some points there. Looking forward to the game week. I think it's a pretty solid team.
Yeah, it looks very good. I really like Ollie Watkins. He was one I was looking towards, but without Grealish, I was turned off a little bit by that. But very nice fixtures for him, and I think even without Grealish, you could maybe see 1 or 2 goals from him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Villa like attacking from wide areas, don't they? So, I mean, the replacements they've got in, they've still got like El Ghazi, Traore, Matt Targett loves swinging in crosses. So we can definitely see, I think, definitely at least 1 return in those fixtures, to be honest. Let's move on anyway into the differential pick of the week. Now, this is the time of the show where we pick out someone with 10% or under ownership, and we basically promote them as being great assets. So, Josh, have you got a pick that you want to?
I haven't had one prepared, so don't bank on me this week. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to go for one that's probably going to slip right under the radar because he doesn't have a double game week. It's going to be Ben White of Brighton. I think any Brighton defender, to be fair, they're probably all under 10% ownership. I think he's at 2.2, 4.4 million. They've got West Brom away. They play in the blank 29 as well. So I think for that sort of price, you can't really go wrong. So clean sheet inbound against West Brom, in my opinion. I don't see West Brom causing them too many problems. And if they do, they're not that clinical enough anyway. So, yeah, I'll go Ben White this week.
That's a good pick. I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
Have you got one ready for your differential pick? Or should I go? Go on.
You can go. Yeah, I think Aubameyang this week. He's 6% owned, but I know he has he's a high price. I think it's like 11 million or 10 point something. But you can't really look past him. Scoring a hat trick against Leeds, and then he could have easily had a hat trick last night with playing with Saka. I can't believe Aubameyang 6% owned. I know because he hasn't played well recently throughout the season, but that's just criminal. I think he's going to pick up form soon. Like, he's had, 5 goals in the last 2 games? That's unbelievable. I think he's going to have a great week this week.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's a great shout. You've seen like his form right now is probably the best he's played all season long, without a doubt. And I think maybe looking towards blank 29, because obviously Arsenal playing that, I think he's a solid buy definitely in the future too.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, my differential pick of the week is going to be a Liverpool player, 5.2% owned, Sadio Mane. I know in recent weeks his form hasn't looked the best, but we've got to bear in mind Liverpool haven't looked great in general, really. Sheffield United have so many injuries at the back. They're without the likes of John Egan.
Pretty much everyone.
I mean, you can name pretty much every defender they have. They've got no Sander Berge to kind of solidify that midfield, so they're going to be a bit lightweight in midfield. I think Mane can take full advantage of that. I mean, him and Salah could potentially pop off this week. You just never know. And I look back to that Liverpool-Chelsea game at Stamford Bridge, and it stood out to me that Mane was really on it that day, and he did get a return. So, yeah, I mean, Sadio Mane at what, 5.2% owned, like Aubameyang, he's another player that gone under the radar because of the template that we've got in Bruno Fernandes and Kane and Son and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think Sadio Mane could be a good shout if you don't have Salah, maybe.
So
yeah.
Shiv just said in the chat, Ben and Sadio Mane don't go well together in double game weeks.
It's a fair point. I'll take that on the chin and we'll move forwards. Great. Bringing it up again.
Can't sleep on that one. Can't sleep on that one.
Not before a double game week. You're going to give me nightmares. Right. If any of you have got any questions, we'll take 4 or 5 minutes of questions before we wrap this one up. So if you've got any questions about the double game week coming up, put them in the chat and we'll get answering.
Yeah, it's good. I'm so excited for this double. It's going to be so. I'm just so ready. I'm eagerly. I'm going to wake up tomorrow like Christmas. It's going to be like Christmas. So many fixtures.
I mean, it's going to be an early start for both of us tomorrow. We are previewing the game week on Glenn Knightley's channel, aren't we?
Yeah, we are indeed. I think is it 10 a.m. start.
10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Unbelievable. No graduate should be waking up at 10 a.m.
James asked, shall he take a hit on some transfers for the bench boost? Now, FPL Fiend, I'm going to let you answer this one because we were talking about taking hits and bench boosting just before we came on.
Yeah, I had the chance to bench boost this week, and I would have had to have taken a -8 for it. I just don't think it's worth it because the bench boost maybe will get you the average of about 15 to 20 points, and that's a good return. So if you take a -8, you're only looking at 8 or 9 points. So I think if you're using your bench boost, I don't think you should take a hit. Just save it for another game week. There's going to be more double game weeks, so I'd say just hold on to it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Pereira or Digne, Josh?
For me, just due to fixtures, I think it's got to be Digne this week. Everton looked quite good with the fixtures they have, and although Pereira will be playing way more attacking, Digne's the same. He looks like to be going forward quite a lot as well. So, some decent, both decent, but I think Digne for this week alone just edges it for me.
We just lost FPL Fiend. I'm not too sure where he's gone. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe he won't be. I'm not too sure, but. But he dropped out. Let's have a look at some other questions. Interesting one here about a Southampton asset. James Ward-Prowse, keep or sell? I'm going to say sell.
Yeah, sell. Southampton are probably one of the worst in terms of form teams right now in the league. They're not looking great, are they? And with Bednarek at right back, it's one to target if you're facing them. James Ward-Prowse, we haven't really seen many returns in terms of set pieces recently. So yeah, I'd probably stay clear of him.
Sorry, lads. I don't know what happened there. I think the internet just went for a second.
No worries, man.
It's back. It's all good.
Glenn is streaming right now and still in our chat somehow. I'm not really sure how he's doing it, but he is. Thanks for that. Let's have a look. The casual RI player says Grealish for Mount. FPL Fiend, what do you think about that one?
I think Mount is a good option. I really do. I think he's been playing well this season. I think he's on penalties now, is he? Pretty sure.
Yeah, he took the one against Southampton, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think he's kind of the centre of that Chelsea team. He creates a lot and he's looking really good. I think Grealish to Mount is a good option for this week and going forward.
Yeah, it's a couple of tough fixtures they got in this double, but going forward, he's been a standout for me this season for Chelsea. But by far their best performer, in my opinion. And yeah, he's just been consistent throughout, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
No, yeah, he's been really good.
Now, Dan asks, triple captain, Kane, Watkins, or DCL? I mean, Josh, I'd probably lean towards Kane, right?
Yeah, I think DCL's a good option, but I think can you look past Harry Kane when Spurs have got those two tasty-looking fixtures? I'm not sure you can, to be honest. I think he's going to score in both games at minimum. Whether he gets more than one goal would be interesting to see. But I think right now, Harry Kane is one of the most must-own assets in the whole of FPL.
Agreed.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Richarlison, a contender for differential player of the week. I was looking at him, to be honest. I was looking at him. Is he gonna get as many returns as DCL? Probably not. But what are we thinking about him? I think he could be a good differential.
No, yeah, he definitely can. I have him in my draft fantasy. I've had him for a while, and I think he's on Is he on? No, Sigurdsson will be on the penalties. I think he can definitely return. He played well at the start of the season, and then he got sent off or he got injured. I can't really remember. And then ever since then, he hasn't really returned. But I think Richarlison going into this double game week with them fixtures he can really do well.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's returned in the past 2 weeks that he's played against Man City and Liverpool. So I think he's definitely, if you don't want to bandwagon to DCL like everyone is, I think he's a good alternative for sure.
Definitely.
Looking at another replacement for Maddison, we're not too sure how long he's out for. Roger's kind of keeping it close to his chest how long he's actually out for. Is Bertrand Traore a good replacement for him?
I mean, he could be. I don't think he's the best option out there. I think if you look at Villa, there are better options even in there. I think does he have many returns this season? I'm not too sure.
I think he picked up a couple. I think I can't remember. It was just before they faced Man City, I think. But he does. I think he looks okay. Whether he'd be the best replacement for Maddison, it's obviously time will tell. And also I think he's like positioning in terms of him and El Ghazi. They always fight for it. I know Grealish is out, but like longer term, it's a bit of a sticky one for me. I personally wouldn't do it. I don't know about you.
No, yeah, I'd be the same. I think he could be an option, but there's much better options out there than Traore.
Yeah,
I'd have to agree with both of you there. Now, that should wrap it up today for FPL Fridays. I mean, we've been going 44 minutes already, lads. We've been going a while. So thank you, FPL Fiend, for coming on. We hope you enjoyed yourself on this episode of FPL Fridays.
Thank you for asking me to come on. I've really enjoyed it, and I'll be open to it in the future. I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, it's brilliant having you on. Check out all of his links down below. He's on TikTok. He's just set it up, and Twitter, obviously, as well, where you probably know him from, to be fair. But yeah, it's been a very good game week. I hope everyone has a good game week as well. I'm buzzing. I can't wait.
Yeah, as
so
always.
Excited. I can't wait.
As always, please like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all our socials. I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And I've been FPL Fiend.
Hey,
there we go. And we'll see you guys
Later. Have a good game week, everyone.